This is episode 8 of the Shame Proof Your Life podcast, the one where I talk about a memory I have about a swing. I'm your host and shame coach, Danita Bremer. In this podcast, I tell stories from my life to fulfill a prompting I've had for far too long. I help you tell your story in a way that you see you aren't alone and there's nothing wrong with you. I want you to stop believing the lie you aren't enough so you can live a life of freedom and fulfillment the way God intended. Okay, so today I want to just give you a little backstory about where this episode is coming from. And then I want to talk about a memory I have of myself and a swing and my sister. I've been doing some deep work with my own self in my self coaching. I've been sensing that I'm kind of like at this precipice or at this point where I need to move forward, but there's some fear holding me back. So I've been exploring that in my own coaching of myself, bringing it to my coaches. And I reached out yesterday to a friend and fellow coach, Rhonda Farr. Shout out to Rhonda. She's amazing. She coaches coaches, helps them on their feelings. So if you're interested in that, go check her out. And we got together over Zoom, and this memory came up. And I'm just in the headspace of exploring what it means. And so, because I'm already thinking about it, because it's a memory from my past about my life, I figured, why not? Why not throw it out here on the podcast and see if it helps you? And I didn't really outline this episode. So, this is going to be a little more off the cuff. I like being off the cuff, I like just telling the story as it comes up. But if it feels a little different to you, that might be why. Okay, so this story takes place after I moved from San Diego to Washington State. We were living on my grandparents' property in a trailer, and it was pretty fresh after that move. It was seemed to be spring or summertime. So it was either that same year that we moved and I was 6 years old, or potentially it was the year after. My sense is that it was the same year we moved. So I had just moved states, left friends. I probably hadn't started school yet at my new school. Um, and so there was a lot of change happening, a lot of unknown. And as I have mentioned before, I was a very shy, quiet, afraid little girl. The story takes place on this piece of my grandparents' property. My grandfather loved to putter around and do all kinds of projects. And one of the things he did as he was building the house that my grandparents built, he really wanted a play area for his grandchildren. And so he dug out this little island. There was a stream that went through my grandparents' property, and he took that stream and he created it. I remember him doing this actually with like a little backhoe or tractor or something. He dug out this island so that the stream could flow around the island. And he put a sandbox on the island and he put a swing. And there were cottonwood trees on this little piece of island property. I also think he put like a pull-up bar. Like, I don't know, at the time, one of the things that was on all the playgrounds was a bar that you could like swing around, and I think he put one of those. There was a hammock there for a while. And this memory, I remember standing there swinging the swing. Now, I don't know if I was like a strange child or something, but I wasn't sitting on the swing. I was standing pushing the actual swing, and I was by myself. And this swing was like two ropes coming down from a cottonwood tree branch, and the branch was pretty far up from what I remember. Now, it could be that I was littler then and it seemed really far up, but it seemed in my memory, it seemed like 20 feet up there. I think my grandfather had to get like a cherry picker or a really tall ladder to get up there. And so that made it so that the arc of the swing was very wide, right? So I'm standing at one end of the arc of the swing and I'm letting the swing go, kind of pushing this swing, and then it's swinging through the air and then it comes back and then I catch it again. So that's pretty impressive for a 6-year-old, right? And I think I've always been kind of in my head, and I think I was just thinking and dreaming and being by myself, and my little sister walks up. So if I was 6 at the time, she was 4. And I remember feeling really annoyed by her, and I had just caught the swing, and she was standing what I thought was right in the line of the swing. If I let it go again, it was gonna hit her. And I don't remember exactly what I said, but something to the effect of, "You better move, or else when I let go of the swing, it's gonna hit you in the face." I actually think I even said, "It's gonna hit you in the mouth." And she said something back and she wouldn't move. And so I let go of the swing, and guess what? It hit her right in the mouth. And I remember being surprised, like, oh my gosh, I just told her that it was going to hit her in the mouth, and then it did. Did I cause that? And I felt bad about it, but I also felt kind of not bad about it, kind of like, I told you so, right? Probably pretty typical of a 6-year-old and 4-year-old sisters, right? The reason Well, I don't really know the reason, but I think one of the reasons why this memory came up as my friend was coaching me is because I'm feeling afraid of my own power. This is one of the themes that I noticed last night as she coached me, was that I sense that I have this potential and this power, and that I can help people, but I'm a little bit afraid of that. And about a week and a half ago, as I was doing some self coaching, actually, now maybe 2 weeks ago, I had a realization that I was associating love with fear, like actually being afraid of people loving me. And as this is all kind of filling itself in my mind and I'm getting coached, um, I'm realizing that the fear, along with this potential power that I have, is that if I open myself up to loving other people and allowing them to love me, that I might actually hurt them. And I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, I see it now, right? Like how I hurt my sister, how I probably have hurt my parents at some time and they have hurt me, right? So people who are supposed to love each other sometimes hurt each other. I've seen it with ex-boyfriends that I broke up with and I hurt them. I see it with my current husband and my kids. Like, I love them, yet sometimes I'm human and I also hurt them. And it seems like the more love I open myself up to, the more hurt I open myself up to. And one of the things that I so desperately want is to help people and not hurt them. So I guess the thought is that hurting people doesn't help them. It does the opposite, right? And last night as Rhonda was walking me through this exercise of kind of visualization and this memory came up, at the end she said, "Do you see how there are so many similarities between what was going on for you in this memory and what's going on for you now in your life. And I didn't see it. She kind of had to point it out to me. And one of the questions she asked me was, what did you need as a 6-year-old girl? Like, what were you afraid of and what did you need? And I was afraid of the uncertainty, afraid of the future, afraid of my own parents and what they might do or not do, afraid of my place, not knowing my place. And what I needed was reassurance. I maybe needed some time to myself. I needed understanding. Like, I wanted my sister in that memory, I wanted her to understand me and move. Um, I think I really needed a friend. I think I was at a time where I felt very alone and didn't know what the future would hold. And I just kind of needed a friend, somebody who could tell me, like, it's going to be okay. Right. And a lot of similarities to what I'm going through now in my business and in my life, trying to figure out what does this look like to have a coaching business and to really feel on my heart that I want to help people. But I also have a family and I don't want my work to completely take over my life. And what does that look like? And I've been receiving promptings. I don't know if they're like full on promptings or just little inklings of the Lord telling me to just trust Him. And I so desperately want to trust Him, but my fear is preventing me from like going all in on trusting the Lord. And what I discovered last night through kind of examining the feelings that I was having and this memory that came up was that the fear served me really well when I was young. It protected me. It made it so that I didn't have to be seen and I could just kind of fly under the radar and I didn't have to like take responsibility for the problems that seemed really big in life and the world seemed big to me and I was kind of scared of it all and I could take it just really slow, one step at a time. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Even today, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It is only a bad thing when it doesn't line up with what I want for myself or for my future. I'm still kind of sitting in all of this that I've been learning, but as I really think about this memory of standing there with the swing and asking my sister to move and her not moving and feeling like I created something and that maybe I was mean and like maybe I hurt people when I didn't really intend to hurt them. Like I remember it being a little bit surprising to me and also kind of like, see, I told you so. And I have these similar feelings right now. Like, what if I create things that hurt other people? And is it going to be surprising to me? Am I going to be like, I told you so? So clearly, I have some agency here, right? I'm an adult now and I don't have to be driven, and my actions don't have to come just from those feelings of fear. I can create whatever I want in the world. And it's just this sort of this old story that I have believed about myself that somehow I have this power or knowing within me that feels scary and feels like it has the potential to hurt others. And just that running itself in the background of my mind is enough to prevent me from moving forward. So, the one little exercise I would have for you here is just, first of all, to recognize a lot of times in life coaching, we avoid going to the past. We don't do that in the way therapy does it. But if it comes up naturally, sometimes we can ask, what am I supposed to learn from this? Right? Because it's coming up for me in the present. right? And it's something that my subconscious mind is trying to tell me or teach me. So it's not that we have to like pick apart all the memories, but that we can know that memories can teach us lessons in the present if we allow them to do so. I would encourage you to think back on your life. And I know even after going through this experience, I recognized other memories that I've kind of hung on to and I didn't quite understand why. What's the difference between something that happens to us when we're 6 years old and we completely forget about it and something that happens that sticks around, right? And I have some others of those types of memories of things that have happened to me. And it didn't seem like anything out of the ordinary or especially noteworthy, but it's something that has kind of stuck around for a while, unbeknownst to me, like why. And now I'm thinking that perhaps there's something for me to learn from these memories. So, if you're anything like me, you probably have a few of those hanging out in your mind and just jot them down and then just start tossing them around in your mind and think about like, how was I feeling at the time? How do I feel about it now? What did I need at that time? Is there any parallel to my life right now? Really simple, quick exercise. You probably don't even really need paper and pen for it, just to like notice it and see if there's some lesson that you haven't learned yet that this memory might help you with. Okay, that's enough for now. And so are you. Until next time, go be you and follow the spirit and think about those memories. If you resonate with my story, I'd love to connect with you. Find me on Instagram and Facebook at Danita Bremer Coaching. And if you're interested in life coaching, please visit my website at danitabremmer.com and schedule a free session.